All right, let's get right into it. If you're a contractor, you know this already. BIM isn't just a nice to have anymore. Nope, it's a core part of the contract. But the real question is, how do you actually run a full BIM project? From the moment you bid on a job all the way to the final handover. Well, that is exactly what we're going to break down step by step. First things first, we have to get this straight. BIM is not software. It's not just a fancy 3D model. At its heart, it's a structured process for managing information. Seriously, think of it less like a tool and more like the official rulebook that governs the entire project. Getting that mindset shift right from the start is, well, it's everything. And that, of course, brings us to the million-dollar question. If it's a process, a contractual thing you're on the hook for from day one to the very end, how do you actually manage it? How do you make sure you're giving the client exactly what they need, exactly when they need it? We're going to tackle that head-on by walking through these 6 phases. We'll start with that core idea, then get into the really critical pre-contract work. What happens at the post-contract kickoff, execution, the super important handover phase, and then kind of wrap it all up with what this whole transformation really means. So let's really lock in this idea of BIM as a process. And look, this isn't just some vague concept. It's literally written down in international standards like ISO 19650. That standard basically sets the rules of the game. It defines how information has to be managed, which is why it's become a non-negotiable part of modern contracts. So how does this play out in the real world? Well, it all kicks off in the pre-contract phase. And what's kind of wild is that your BIM journey actually starts before you've even won the job. This is the stage where you prove you've got the goods. It really boils down to 2 key things. First, you have to dig deep and analyze what the client actually wants by reviewing their employer and asset information requirements, the EIR and AIR. That's your cheat sheet for what data they expect. Then you put together your pre-contract BIM Execution Plan, or BEP. This document is basically your game plan. It tells the client, hey, here's our strategy, here's our A-team, and this is exactly how we're going to deliver for you. And here's the kicker. This isn't just you hoping for the best. The whole point is for the client to formally assess your team's capability and capacity to deliver. And the ISO 19650 standard provides the official framework for this. So you're not just saying you can do it, you're proving it against a global benchmark. Okay, so you've done your homework, you've proven you've got what it takes, and boom, you've won the contract. Awesome. Now the real work begins. We're moving into the post-contract kickoff, where we build the actual foundation for the entire project delivery. Remember that pre-contract BEP you wrote? Well, now it evolves into the official post-contract BEP. And this document, it becomes the single source of truth, the project Bible for the entire team. It defines everything: modeling standards, how to name your files, approval workflows. Every single rule of engagement is in this document. Now, to execute that rulebook, you need a team with super clear roles. You got your BIM manager at the top, kind of overseeing the whole game. They work with the BIM coordinators, who are focused on specific areas like mechanical or structural. And then you have the BIM authors, the folks who are actually in there building the models and inputting the data. When the roles are this clear, you get real accountability. All of this information from every single person on the team, it needs a place to live. And that place is the Common Data Environment, or CDE. You can think of it as the project's digital nervous system. It's the central hub that makes sure everyone, and I mean everyone, is working from the latest version, that all the approvals are tracked, and that data is shared in a controlled, secure way. No more guessing games. And now we get to the heart of it all: execution during construction. This is where all that planning, all those rule books and systems we set up, start to pay off in a big way. This is where the digital plan truly connects to the physical job site. A huge concept here is the level of development, or LOD. You see, early on, you might be at LOD 300, which is all about the design intent. What's it going to look like? But as you get into the nitty-gritty of construction, you level up to LOD 350. This model has way more detail, enough for different trades, like your HVAC and structural teams, to coordinate their work down to the inch. And that coordination is everything. Using these detailed models, the team runs continuous clash detection. This is where you find the problems digitally. Like a huge pipe trying to run through a steel beam. And you solve them right there on the screen, not out on the site with a cutting torch. I mean, this process alone saves an unbelievable amount of time, money, and rework. It's a game changer. But we can get even smarter. What happens when you link the 3D model to the project schedule? You introduce the 4th dimension, time. This is 4D BIM. It lets you literally watch the building get built on your screen, so you can optimize the whole sequence and track progress like never before. And hey, why stop there? Let's add the fifth dimension, cost. By linking all the model parts to cost data, we get 5D BIM. This gives you things like automated quantity takeoffs and real-time budget tracking. It's like having a financial crystal ball for your project. Okay, let's fast forward to the final delivery phase, handover. Way too often, this is just an afterthought. But in a real BIM project, this is the grand finale. This isn't about dumping a stack of drawings on someone's desk. It's about delivering a valuable, long-term digital asset. The mindset shift here is just massive. Handover is not just about drawings. It is about delivering a digital asset. The whole goal is to give the client a fully operational digital twin of their building. It's a resource they can use for the entire life of that asset, long after your construction team is packed up and gone home. So how do you actually build this digital asset? Well, it starts with an as-built model, or LOD 500, which is updated to reflect exactly what was installed on site, every little change. This model then gets loaded up with information to become an asset information model, or AIM, which has all the data the facilities team needs, and finally, all that data gets structured using a standard like COBie, which just makes it super easy for the client systems to actually use it. So this digital asset isn't some abstract idea. It's a concrete package of stuff. It includes that super accurate as-built model, all the asset data in the AIM, the COBie files, and all the linked documents like warranties and O&M manuals. It is literally everything the owner needs to run their building efficiently from day one. So if we zoom all the way out, what does this all really mean? It represents a massive transformation in how we deliver projects. It's about moving away from a bunch of disconnected steps and toward an integrated system, a system built entirely on information. So, what's the secret sauce for success? It's not about buying the most expensive software. It's about building a system based on structured information and crystal clear processes. It's about making sure everyone knows what they're responsible for and that you are constantly, and I mean constantly, validating the data at every single step. And that, right there, is the entire journey. For a contractor, a successful BIM project starts with intense planning and a rock-solid BIM execution plan. And it ends with handing over a fully operational digital asset that's going to provide value for decades. So as we wrap this up, I'll just leave you with this one question to chew on. When you approach your next project, are you focused on just putting up a physical building, or are you focused on creating a valuable, lifelong digital asset? Because that choice, it makes all the difference.